Hey everybody, I am in a moment of transition. So, I want to say, well, some years ago, a very generous friend of mine gave me this airbrush. This is an Iwata Custom Micron B, CMB. And I was a little afraid of it when I first got it because A, it's a very expensive airbrush. And B, it's also a very fine tipped airbrush. It has a 0.18 tip, which is really almost as small as they go. You can find maybe smaller ones. And it was really hard to use at first because the tip was so fine. And what that meant was I learned a lot from using this airbrush. So I think I spent, I don't know, a few months using it and trying and failing and trying and succeeding and trying and failing, using different paints. And I kind of got a handle on it. And then at some point I needed to replace the needle or the tip. And both of those parts are actually very expensive. And so I set it aside for a little while and went back to one of my other airbrushes. And it turned out that fighting with this airbrush had made it easier for me to use my other airbrush, which is really interesting because it had a bigger tip, and I had learned a lot about thinning paint and getting in close and getting real good control. It was still not. I still couldn't do as fine of work with that other airbrush, and I'm talking about my old Eclipse, which I don't have with me handy. But then I eventually replaced the parts for this and got up and running, and pretty much from that point on continued using it and replacing parts periodically until this became my primary painting tool. Now, this version of the CMB is no longer made. They replaced it with an updated version, and I don't know if the parts are compatible. And even if they were, I can't afford to buy another one. I couldn't afford to buy this one. Again, generous friend gave this to me. But I did recently bend the needle, and I had also had a situation where one of the other parts had gone bad, and I needed to replace it, and I had a real hell of a time finding that part. And the needles and the tips for this have always been expensive, and I told myself the next time I needed to do major part replacement, I was just going to replace the airbrush with something else. So I did some research, and I came up with this. And this is, well, the box says Mr Airbrush Custom 018. It is actually made by a different company, and I will flash that on the screen here because now that I have this box in front of me, I can't remember the actual other name. And maybe it'll be inside there when I open it up. But so I'm going to do a little unboxing, and then I'm going to try it. And although I can't really do a good side-by-side test, I would love to. But the needle on this one is kind of borked right now. And although it's functional, it doesn't function well. So I can't do a fair comparison. Suffice it to say, I will know if it's a comparable thing. And that's what I'm going to find out. Because, well, I've invested in this. So let's take a look. I honestly have not opened this up yet. Okay, all right. All right, we have, this came from Japan, by the way. I bought it on Amazon, and it shipped through Amazon Japan. All right. Basic instructions, all in Japanese. I don't think I need that anyway. That's fine. Just so you know, one of the reasons I decided to get this airbrush, well, there's a couple of reasons. primary is this appears to be a direct replacement for this airbrush. It does everything that this one does, and it comes with the same size tip and needle. So that's the other thing. That's the main thing. And the other thing is that this is actually recommended to me by a gentleman that runs another YouTube channel, and I believe it's called The Art Workshop. And again, I'll throw it up on the screen if I'm wrong. I'm going to throw it up on the screen if I'm right, just to reinforce the point, because the channel is great if you're into airbrushes at all. He does amazing reviews. But I even asked directly and said, hey, I need to replace my CMB, and I can't afford it. I can't afford to replace it with another CMB. What should I get? And this is the one he pointed out. And since that was the one I had already chosen, it was a good recommendation. It was actually exactly what I was looking for. So this is the brush. Ooh, that feels pretty good. It does look pretty much exactly like my CMB. Now, there was something I wanted to try because I was curious if parts were compatible. And yes, that fits right on there. I actually lost the one for this a long time ago. It's probably actually still around this room somewhere. I'm sure the cat just knocked it into a corner. Because I just kind of stopped using it. I prefer to work with the needle exposed so that I can see what I'm doing. If you can actually see the needle while you're working, it's easier to really target the area that you want to hit. All right, so what do we got going on here? That is almost lost. Oh, that's a quick disconnect, which I don't have the other part of. I really should get that. Oh, it also comes with, oh, maybe it's already got one on there. Let's have a look. Oh no, oh I see. No, it's just it's an adapter. Why would you want an adapter? Well, I guess because you wanted to use this hose. So I'm not going to need that because I'm not going to use this hose. All right. The difference in the action, now this one's all dirty and it's not going to come back. This has a little bit more of a little bit more resistance. When you pull it back, you can actually loosen that up. That's an adjustable thing, but on this one, it seems like the base is fairly loose. I don't mind that at all. Is it the same size? It is a little bigger and slightly heavier. That's going to make sense because it's got the bigger cup here. Truth be told, I don't really need the bigger cup. I guess it will come in handy periodically, but I actually prefer this. Or I could even take something smaller, because most of the time I don't use that much paint. But I guess it's, okay. If I had it, if somebody said, "Hey, what do you want to see on this airbrush?" I would say detachable cups in different sizes. That would be the way to go. I have a Grex that does that, and I love it for that reason. I don't understand this little cutout here. Let's take it apart. Or at least somewhat take it apart. There. There's the needle. All right, so far, this is just like the CMB. Oh, oh, okay. What's going on here? Oh, okay, this is different. That's the same. This has that piece is connected to this piece. And so I'm not sure how you get that out of there, except maybe by taking this off, and I don't want to do that right now. And that's fine, because this, this may actually be one of the benefits of this over the CMB is that piece on this airbrush is a pain when you're doing disassembly. So this should be easier. All right, let's put that back in. Yeah, there does not seem to be the adjustability of the trigger. Oh wait, no, yeah, there is actually. That is what this is. Right, so the more you screw that in, the tighter the pull-on this should be. Actually, that's pretty good. That's about the same. I think it just defaults to a softer pull. But that seems about the same to me. Maybe a little lighter, but it feels good. That feels really good. All right, let's put that back in. Creos, there it is. There's the name. This is the Creos airbrush. Of course, I probably already put that on the screen, so you know. Let's take this off so I can see what I'm doing with the needle. Oh, there it is. All right, good. Just wanted to make sure I wasn't forcing that through there too hard. Okay, so this also has the needle limiter adjustment in the back here, just as the CMB did. Frankly, I don't care. I don't use it. So the idea with these is that you can use it to adjust the how far back you can pull the needle. And I guess the theory is that when you're trying to do really fine lines, or maybe when you just want repeatability of a line, if you can stop yourself from going too far when you pull it back, that's going to help. I have never found that to be the case. Never, not once. So, yeah, I don't think that's, it's not a feature that I ever use. I don't know that anybody that does, honestly. Tell you what I want to do. Oh, right. This is something that is not on the CMB. And if I'm not mistaken, that is it's for setting the pressure at the airbrush instead of doing it at the compressor. And I actually have a part on my airline to do just that. And this one is on the airbrush. So if I like that, I can replace this with that. So that'll be interesting to find out. Okay, well, I am going to get it hooked up, and then we can test it out, see how it goes. Oop. Okay, I put a little thinned Liquitex black, and this is just watercolor paper. Oh my gosh, this is really good. This is very good. So yeah, in order to get super fine lines like that, this piece here needs to just be sitting on the paper. And I find it easier usually to not have that on there. Oh, now I'm getting tip dry. So some of this kind of looks like spattering. It's mostly just the Liquitex that does that. Oh yeah, this is really, really nice. Yeah, I think I'm gonna be really happy with this. The one thing that is really weird, and I don't know, let me have a look. Yeah, so it feels a little front heavy, and as you can see, the distance from the center point to the front of the airbrush is further, and so there is a little bit of feeling of, you know, more distance from the subject, which, you know, maybe not great, but it's not a deal breaker at all. I feel like that's a thing I'm going to get used to without an issue. Look at that. And I was right about this, so if you lock that down, nothing comes out. Open it back up. But you can also use it to vary the amount. It's not just on and off, obviously. I don't know if I prefer the one that I've had down here or if it's just that I'm used to having the one down here. I certainly don't need both of them. And since I have no choice in the matter, it'll be fine that it's there. Yeah, I think this is going to be great. The thing is, I mentioned it's expensive. The CMB is a lot, like more than I want to spend on an airbrush, even though it is my primary tool. And I'll put up on the screen the current price for these. This I got for, I believe, $175 on Amazon, and you know, prices will vary depending on where you pick it up. And that is, you know, I think less than half of what you would pay for a CMB. And at least at first glance, I'm going to get the same quality of spray out of the Creos than I did the Iwata. And I've been an Iwata guy for many years, many, many years. So, yeah, I think the transition is probably complete here. I'm going to do a full review once I've had a chance to really use it on a number of projects. This has really just been more of a first look, first impressions, and I really wanted to have an excuse to share this with y'all. So I hope I've done that. And that's going to do it for today. Let me know if you have any questions, anything that I can answer right away about this airbrush. And I will be happy to do what I can to answer those questions. So that's it. I will talk to you all later.